Slow it down a bit.
I don't want to create too much chaos.
Pushing down on me.
Save our home, save the plant, save the trees,
Well. Okay. Shall I come up and help?
Yes.
That's looking good. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. I'd like to tell you a story. It's about a group of people. You could call them a community. And they lived in a place, well, they just called it home. They'd been there as long as anyone could remember. And it had pretty much everything they needed. The land was green and fertile. The sun shone, the rain rained, the flowers grew, the crops grew, the people grew. Well, as is the way of things, people started to think, and much as they loved their place they lived, the friends, the families, the neighbours, the deep roots they had in their ancestral home, they got a bit restless. So the odd person would wander off, disappear for a bit, and come back with wondrous stories of monsters and magic and amazing events and happenings and phenomena. This tendency to explore, to look for something more, it began to spread through the community. It became a bit of a vogue. It started spreading far and wide, and in the end it was just what you did. Everybody started wandering off, seeing and doing all sorts of things, coming back, checking in, going out and doing it again. They touched base, connected with each other, and with their lovely old home. And they got together, and they celebrated, and they sang. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change. Well, so they all kept going out, adventuring. Who wouldn't? Finding all sorts of things, all sorts of worlds, coming home, checking in, going out and doing it again. Some people found new ways of doing things, like growing cabbages the size of trees that would feed a village for a week, or discovering ways of shouting so loud that they could hold conversations with people hundreds, thousands, even thousands of miles away. It wasn't all fun and easy. There were tricksters out there. They would promise you anything you wanted, and then you'd find yourself in an underground labyrinth, stumbling around in the darkness, feeling the hot, rancid breath of the Minotaur. And there were trolls who lived under grey boxes, who would steal your very soul. But still, for the most part, they turned that back home for what by now had become a regular festival. They partied and sang, danced and loved, and then went off again. Sometimes a few people thought that it didn't seem to be quite what it used to be. But, you know, you always get a few grumblers, don't you? Meanwhile, the amazing explorations went on. Someone discovered new ways of channeling the golden energy that came from the sun and doing all sorts of amazing things with it. Someone else did the same with the dark energy that came from under the ground. Actually, the guy who did that, he ended up chained to a rock with a bunch of birds pecking at his liver. But, you know, it was very useful. There was, though, still that nagging feeling that, and it was growing now, that when they got back for the regular shindig, things were just not quite the same. Something had changed. A certain coldness between people. Not the same sort of joy. The colours, not so bright. It was as if the trees, the plants, the ground, the people, nothing had quite the same sort of life in it anymore. Even the sun and the winds and the rain were just different somehow. Still, they kept up their wanderings. But more and more, certain individuals failed to show up. They didn't quite make it back for one reason or another. And when they bumped into each other on their travels, rather than greet each other with welcome friendship, there was hostility, suspicion creeping in. A certain meanness. The places they went to weren't the same either. For instance, where there once had been forests, a lush forest, there might be a desert or a burnt out blackened wasteland. And the islands and the low-lying valleys that they loved to visit sometimes just weren't there at all, which left them baffled and confused. Oh, and there was disease too. There were illnesses going around. There was one in particular that was really quite nasty, and there were some groups of people who found ways of preventing themselves from getting it. But they were so pleased with themselves that they forgot to share it with the others, with obvious results. Still, the survivors, and those who remembered, kept making it back year after year, time after time, until one time when, well, they thought they knew where they were, but somehow it just wasn't there anymore. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. Had they got lost and gone to the wrong place? Some thought they had, but others said, no, we definitely know the way. This is the place. But where is it? It's not here. They were dazed, confused, disoriented, knowing where they were and not knowing where they were, baffled. It was like knowing where they were, not knowing where they were. Nothing was familiar. Oh, that was lost. And then, what happened next was, actually, I don't know what happened next. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Nothing's gonna change.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Nothing's gonna change my world.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
The earth is damaged,
No, the earth is strong. People are damaged.
but everything is changing. What's going to happen? It's falling apart. It's hopeless.
We'll find a way. We just have to be more sensible.
Too late for that.
We're clever. We can work it out.
The earth can heal.
The earth needs to heal. People need to heal.
That's true. People need to heal.
People
as well.
do need to
But the earth
heal.
needs to
Can
heal.
we work
need
it
to
out?
help
What
the
am I
earth.
going to tell
I
my
don't
children?
know. I don't know what to tell our children.
Stop!
We can write on the leaves.
That's true. We could write on the leaves, and on the back we could write about how the earth nourishes us.
Yeah.
So we can take the leaves and we can write on them our gifts to Mother Earth.
Yes,
What we
exactly
can learn and what we can do.
Yeah.
We can write on these leaves and we can
you
put them
help
on
us?
poles and we can send that wish to Mother Earth.
And the wind will take our wishes.
Save our